and welcome to the best thing you watched. We're back for another podcast slash YouTube episode. Very excited to talk about the content we've seen this week. We got Chris from Movies and Munchies and myself from the Ruby Tuesday. And I think we've had a fairly interesting, busy week. How are you doing, Chris?
I'm tired. Yeah, I've had, lots of house projects going on, but most of them are coming to an end. So that and some really long binge sessions.
Oh, so, okay.
Yeah,
we're going to have some interesting ones to talk about this week, I think.
Yeah. How about you? How was your week?
Yeah, I think I watched a lot, but I don't have too much to show for it in terms of things I really enjoyed. It felt like one of those weeks.
Yeah. I get
well,
that.
Well, if you're if this is your first time, thank you so much for joining us on The Best Thing We Watched, where we chat about the best thing we watched previous week. And we talk about the things that we are most looking forward to at the end of the show, normally in the podcast section, if we're not doing something special. And we talk about entertainment news. So do look out for that bit or listen to that bit. You can't really look out for that bit. You can listen to it. And thank you to everybody that's been commenting, saying that they really look forward to this segment, our weekly catch-ups. Really appreciate it. It does help us feel a little bit energized, going, oh, okay, it's not just us. Although I do really enjoying speaking English and chatting to you, Chris.
Hey, talking is good. Good talking.
Talking is good. Yes. But yeah, okay, so should we start?
Yes.
Or do you have a question?
I do have a question.
Hey, okay.
Can you impersonate anyone famous?
No. Just
okay, moving on.
No. I want to, and I'm one of those people that don't mean to. It's not an insult when I watch a movie. My mind immediately goes to mimicking the accents. Not that I do it well, but so that after the film, or even if I'm walking to the shop, I might, if I've watched an Indian movie, I might still be speaking, trying to say like the Simpson, Homer Simpson, you know.
You get influenced by what you've heard.
Influenced by what I've heard, and then it's a mixture of a South African, British, and American accent, because that's where my influences come from, like from my social media and my entertainment. And so then it's like, Homer Simpson, put that baby back where it came from. And so that's meant to be as close as I can get to what's his name from the Quickie Mark.
Apu? Is that his name?
Maybe. Yeah. Hey. I can do Jasmine from Aladdin.
Yes, please.
Or is it the parrot mimicking Jasmine? Ali. And then he goes, where are you, Jasmine? I'm out in the menagerie. That's about it. All I got.
I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I can't do impersonations. I would like to think I could. I would love to be able to do that. My youngest son, though, has a really good ear, and he's practicing doing it. And he does a phenomenal Patrick Warburton. And
nice.
Especially
he's the best.
As Kronk. Oh my gosh. He does part of the monologue and some of the phrasings that Kronk does. And it is...
I love Kronk so much.
Oh my gosh, yes. Well, and it is so good to hear him just do it. I'll have to record him doing it one time. But we would stand in line in Disneyland, and Patrick, well, you probably don't know this, but Patrick Warburton has been hired to do a lot of voiceovers and a lot of on-screen work for when you're in the queue. And there's
really?
Nothing going on.
As Kronk?
So no, mostly it's him or him playing some, and so he's got that really deep baritone voice, and that it's just very distinctive. And so we, will have him sometimes say some of the things just to be to us, but to see other people's reactions. He also worked at a fast food place prior to COVID, and he would occasionally do one of those voices through the drive-thru. Or he would answer it as Kermit the Frog. So anyway, we tell him you need to just keep practicing this, because you can just, I think you could make maybe a living.
People do well off like copying other, and then you do the best bits. So if you can do like famous people like a Yoda, or get to the chopper, as close as you
Yes.
can to an Arnie. And then you'd have the little clip. You could do YouTube stuff. Yeah, people love that sort of stuff. It's because it's really fun and entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah. See if you can record him doing one thing. You don't even have to put his face. You could do like the voice.
Yeah, I'll see if I can get him, and I'll maybe even, if I can, I'll get him to do it for this episode, and we'll just insert it in.
Yeah, great.
And so,
Okay.
Right. Cusco's poison. Poison for Cusco. Poison specifically to kill Cusco. Oh, my spinach puffs.
After hearing my terrible rendition of Jasmine from Ali. Yeah.
I did start watching Aladdin this week, though. I was out in the garage doing
weird.
some stuff, but yeah, it was great. It's been a long time since I've seen it. Anyway, neither here nor there.
All right, bad boy, but no more freebies. That's
So good. So good.
he's the best. He was the
Yes. Oh my goodness. Hey, you know what? We did our top 5 Valentine's Day movies, or at least rom-coms or romantic movies to get you in the mood for Valentine's Day last week. And
Yeah.
I had a couple of people, I don't know if you had anybody, but a couple of people had given us some suggestions as well in the comments. So I had Pretty Woman, which I think you and your wife had recently watched, and you had said that
Yeah.
it had held up really well.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Right
Good-
on.
Good choice.
Nice. There's Lady Hawk, which I don't
Love Lady Hawk.
see. I'm not sure if I've ever seen that. I mean,
Oh
I
my
need
gosh,
it-
you need to watch that. I mean, it's classic 80s.
Well, hey, and it's fantasy, right? Isn't it? Or is it kind of
very,
like?
very fantasy.
Okay.
It's in the vein of Willow, that kind of.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
So, and then 50 First Dates.
Great choice. One of my
Yeah.
favorites, Adam Sandler's. Just getting a woman to fall in love with you every day. I love that premise. It's tough, but
It's so sweet too.
It's so sad and romantic at the
Yeah.
same time. Good choice. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if anybody had said any to you or that you remember, but it was kind of like, oh, that's pretty cool. It's been a long time since I've seen 50 First Dates too, and I see occasionally the memes, especially surrounding Sean Astin, whereas like Samwise did not help go throw the Ring of Power into, Mount Doom so that he could be remembered as Doug or whatever from 50 First Dates.
Oh, shame. Was he the muscly dude? In that?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's Drew Barrymore's, I think, brother, and he's
Yeah,
just
that's right.
the dumb kind of, and
But he made a great comeback in Stranger Things for a while.
oh my gosh, yeah. Well, and you know what? Sean Astin is I think he's a great actor, and he's
Fantastic. Yeah.
especially for our generation too, because we start out with like Goonies, and get endeared to him as Mikey through that, and then
Yeah.
it's just anytime he pops up, it's like, oh yeah, okay, I'm here. And you just seem like a genuinely nice guy as well, which I think helps.
I don't think I've ever seen him play a bad guy, which is great because I don't want him to play a bad guy.
He's I like him as the friend, the very nice, dependable, even as the lead. I totally watch.
But it's always sad then if he's in that and then he dies. You're like, no.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Poor Bob.
Poor Bob. Oh, Bob. So what's on your list of the best things you've seen this week? Or what's first on your list?
This was a tough week. Now, I didn't watch a lot of stuff because one of the things was one of them was eating up a lot of my time that I watched. But then I watched one or two other things, I think, and they were poo, which that didn't help anything. But I want to talk about Inventing Anna.
Okay.
On Netflix, this limited series that was really long. I mean, it was.
My gosh, those episodes, some of them are like hour, 20-minute long.
Yeah, it was. I felt the time some. Welcome. I mean, this is the best thing we watched, and I start out talking about a negative on a show. But but I found myself sucked into the story. I mean, I didn't know anything.
I think that's what
about
it was. It's just mesmerizing.
Like
you're kind of just fascinated by what's going on.
Yeah, it's like it's almost too strange to be believable.
exactly that.
And I think some of it is embellished. I mean, they tell us at the beginning of every episode that this is based on a true story, except for everything that was made up.
Yeah,
and so
I do love that bit. Yeah,
I thought that was wonderful. But so we know going in, okay, so it's grounded in some fact, and then we don't know exactly how everything really plays out. And did this not happen? Did it happen kind of? And now it's exploded more for this story. You make it more entertaining. But even still, to have this person who purports to have wealth and be able to suck all of these very wealthy people in and bamboozle them. Is that a good word? I don't know if that's the right usage of that term, but it sounds good. I like saying it. And so to just, they believe that, yes, her money is coming. There just must be a problem with the international markets, or her dad just needs to wire some more money from the trust or something like this. I mean, how many times can you believe that same thing? And some of them, you're happy once the characters are finally, they're just like, I'm fed up, I'm done, I'm not helping you, but then you see some of the other ones who are sticking by the side the entire time. And it's like, why? How do you not see that? And maybe it's just because your experience was different. I don't know. It's just the acting, though. I mean,
she was incredible. Apart from, can we talk about the voice? Because I'm still not sure on the voice.
Okay, so I looked up an interview with the real Anna Delvey, and she has a weird, like, hybrid accent. Like you listen to it and you're going, are you making this up? Because parts of it sound, it's that Russian and German weird mix, and it like didn't sync with my ears. I think that's what it was. That it was so different. That I don't think I've ever heard anybody speak in that way. I've heard Russian accents. I've heard very thick Russian accents. I used to work with a couple of wonderful Russian ladies, and so there's that accent, and then the German accent can sometimes be very thick as well, and just powerful. And this one, I don't know, but she had also that influence of and that twinge of like a Southern drawl at times.
Yeah.
And it was very weird, and it was still hard to get used to the entire time. I mean, it was
like, I don't think it ever settled for me.
Yeah, because sometimes it almost felt like a caricature.
Exactly.
That she was, there were certain times where
I think that's probably part of it, though. Maybe.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, at first it really bothered me. And that's why I looked up the interview, because I was like, come on, I don't know what you're trying to do here. This is just really, really weird. Which also, in that same vein, it reminded me of Elizabeth, some person with this scammer company, Theranos, the tech, where she does something to her voice where it sounds very weird and very unnatural. And so I thought maybe she was doing that for this, or trying to take on something weird, but no, it actually kind of stuck sort of close to how it really was in life. And okay.
Well, if you're listening or watching, I'm going to talk about the end for a moment. So if you haven't seen it, or you haven't read about the actual story online, then this is like kind of a bit of warning. I don't think there's much to spoil, because it's real life, and you can read the articles anyway. So she gets, after a huge court case. That last episode, pretty riveting actually. It was very emotional for a lot of the characters. I thought it was a nice wrap up, almost feature length episode. I think I guess it is feature length because it's 80 minutes. I think 86 minutes is the actual length of a film. So
yeah, very close.
Or was it 76? It might be 76.
There have been some feature length films that are barely over an hour like that.
You think about The Page Master. I think that's a feature, and that's really short. Okay, so on that tangent, she gets sentenced to 4 to 12 years. And I think if the articles I've read, she actually only served 2. She's out, and she's got a TV series, or she's filming herself, and I think there might be one other person filming her and she's kept the name Anna Delvine TV, and she got permission from her, the person you have to go and see every week when you get out of jail, your parole officer. Yes, she got permission from a parole officer, and so she's recording herself as that character, as that person. She's kept the name and the brand, and she's writing a book. And what's interesting is she has a whole bunch of notes and times from her time during that time and how close. And so she still wants to do that business that she's thought of, but she's going to use the money from the book and the TV series to do that. And honestly, I wouldn't put it past her at all to be able to do this, because I think people will be fascinated by the book. If the right company sells it, they could have a bestseller on their hand just because of the story. Yeah. She could get huge money, and if she gets a one-off payment and then keeps like a percentage of royalties, right? And then someone else wants to do a film and the TV series gets picked up on her life, I don't think this is the loss. Much like Tiger King, just the crazy story in the world that's now, and we've got a TV series of that coming, which I'm actually looking forward to. Joe versus Carol. Yes. I'm looking forward to that more because of like who's playing them. I think it could be great. But anyway, so that's the tension. I just thought it was really interesting. If you want to go find out what's happened afterwards, she's very much still in the light. I was a bit sad because I think I was on her side, even though I know she'd manipulated like so many people. The people involved in her life, if they were like that, were as nasty, if not worse, than her. Like the stuff they were doing around it. Or you got a lot of the senses that they were using her popularity to further their selves. And when she got unpopular, suddenly they disappeared. And I was just like, yeah, so she's bad, but they're scummy. Like,
well, and I think that's part of that complexity is what made the story just so engaging. Yeah. Because you had, from that aspect, I mean, just the circular using of people, but it fascinated me about how it was the perception of wealth was really all that was needed to get wealth.
Yeah, that's really interesting, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that only exists in the uber wealthy. Yeah. I mean, like between you and I mean, we're regular people, not wealthy. And so I could tell you, oh yeah, I'm very rich. My lifestyle doesn't look like that at all. But that doesn't do anything. That doesn't even get me more money. That doesn't get me invited to these parties or anything else. And so you have to have this perception, which she did really well at getting that persona, and maintaining that, and which then allowed her to scam, whoever she did, and then allows them to feed off of her and to benefit themselves. And then it becomes, just that nasty cycle.
Because sometimes you're wondering who's scamming who, because even her boyfriend was, he was like, what was going on there? Like he was fully scam artist.
Yeah, well, and I loved, because you mentioned how you began to feel sorry for her, at least empathy towards her. And that's a good manipulation of storytelling. You know what I mean? Where it can take somebody who we know is bad, who they've shown us as a bad person, and then make us feel for them. And you watch like the lawyer and the journalist. Yeah. At the end, I mean, they're devastated that she is, being
because their lives are put on halt and almost ruined because of her at the expense of their own family lives to help her.
Yeah, when it really, it should be, you think about it from the lawyer standpoint, and especially from the journalist standpoint, it should be arm's length. Yeah. You should be, very detached.
Boundaries. Yeah.
Exactly. So that you can tell the story as it needs to be versus it becoming something personal. And then it gets muddied by, all of your own personal just interactions and stuff. But it also then goes to show how good Anna was at what she did.
Yeah, master manipulator for sure.
Yeah.
It did help that she had a didactic memory, because she looked at anything, she could memorize it and then understand. Like, so any conversation she walked into about that person, she knew everything. And then so her character that she's made up, she can bring that to the forefront and just seem like she's so savvy when she actually knew nothing. Because, she couldn't speak Russian. I think that's the kind of the stuff that tripped her up, was facts. Like when you had to show proof, she could never produce anything because there was none. Yeah. And the father, I mean, we want more information there, because what do we know at the end of the day?
Well, yeah, he's a working class guy.
Yeah.
And who. The thing that I took away from the end, where the parents are interviewed, is that Anna is kind of a sociopath and has been from the very beginning. You know what I mean? Like, they saw it early on. Now, that doesn't change the fact that the dad still loves his daughter. I mean, that it didn't take away from that. But I think it made their relationship much more difficult, and so she's, I think he's at that torn stage where he wants to be able to protect her or to care for her in some way, but he can't. He has no means to do so, and even if he does, it's going to be useless because she is detached from them.
I think. Well, I to a certain extent, I can understand if you think about as a child, or I don't know, maybe I was just a psychopath myself, but if you've lied about something and then you put another lie on top of that lie, and then eventually nobody finds you out, so that lie becomes your truth, and then you believe it. I think that's how I understood her psyche. So she might be demented, but she'd created this character so much so that she believed those lies. Like, my dad will give me, just wait, he will send the money across. And so when it didn't happen, the realization of, oh my gosh, what have I done? It starts cracking. You see her like in her cell, she's crying. And that seemed to be like the first time that she was kind of really being real, but it only lasts like fractions until her character's back up.
Yeah. Her delusion only, she believes her own delusion, and that, you're right, it absolutely is her own reality now. That's what truth is for her, whether or not she can actually back it up. And it always, it became very stressful watching this show. There were multiple times where, it's like moving, and you know that at some point it's going to be that she has to actually show something, that like when the funding comes through and they're like, okay, well, they're just going to send them over to Germany to talk to the lawyer, to talk to your dad really quick, just to check out all of the boxes and we're good to go.
But it's weird because that has to happen, but you're still willing her to succeed in all her daily life, making that business. It can't happen, but you want it to. Does that make sense? It's yeah.
Well, and that's how the storytelling was too, because again, you're rooting for this person that is absolutely horrible.
I was, but I don't know. Were you? Because I get the sense you weren't there.
I went back and forth, really. I mean,
that's fair, because the way she treats people, it can swing you right back and like, you're just a douchebag, and then you're like, oh wait, but I understand now.
Yeah, well, and that's where it was too, because some of it, like even take Rachel, the one who brought the initial charges against, and her episode when they're in Morocco was nail biting. I mean, that was such a stressful and emotional episode. Like, I was like holding my breath through most of that. But if you look at once the case comes, where if you look at everything that actually happened, at least through the show, we're talking about the show here, so using that as our fact, but Rachel volunteers all of these things. I mean, yes, she is manipulated into believing that Anna will pay her back, or that has this money. So she's willing to put down her credit card or, pay for certain things or whatever. But then towards the end, once you realize that she's brought all these charges against her, but American Express has wiped out the bill, has taken care of it all, that she is now benefiting from this experience to a very large degree, way more than maybe even Anna is ever going to.
Yeah, it was a
benefit.
fairly big amount, like $60,000 or something.
Well, the Amex was, but she gets the TV deal, the book deal.
Oh, yes.
And so in the show, it's like what,
like
300,000 or 600,000, something. Yeah, it's a ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah, she has book deal. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the writing then manipulates, because it made me believe that she wasn't the victim, even though she, and I think that's kind of I don't know, maybe the conundrum and maybe the beauty of the show is where yes, Rachel does a lot of this of her own volition, because she either,
and people saw that in the court case, didn't they? Because that was one of the things that she wasn't found guilty. Well, Anna wasn't found guilty for.
Exactly. Yeah. But at the same time, that's just a crappy thing to do to a person. You know what I mean? Like if you and I go and I invite you to Morocco, or I tell you, hey, we're going to go on this trip, I'm going to take care of it. And well, no, we need to book it now. Well, go ahead and book it. I'll pay you back. And then we get there, and then I tell you that, no, well, there's an issue here.
You can't trust
and you
people
said,
like
okay.
that. There are users, yeah.
Yeah, there are, yeah. And so that, even though you volunteer to take care of it, I'm still the bad guy here, because I'm the one initiating it. I'm the one saying, yeah, go ahead, I'll pay you back. And so you're the one stepping up, and that's how Rachel is. But in the show, then Rachel becomes the villain at one point, and I love that it made me do that. And I hate that I felt that way.
Writing was excellent.
Yeah, it really was. I was thrilled. Now the series was too long.
It was. Yeah.
I think they could condense it some, especially because you have characters at the beginning who disappear.
Yeah, there's
whole
storylines I think it weren't needed. It didn't further the plots.
Well, especially for the length of time that were spent on them. I do think that we need some of this, because it shows, like the woman who is the art person who introduces her to a lot of things. Well, those introductions are necessary. And the leading up to that, and even how Anna steals her credit card, and uses her stuff to charge things. I mean,
she
all of
so
that
much
is
stuff.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I was like stressed when I was just watching that number go up and up and up. I was like, oh gosh.
Oh my gosh. Heart palpitations.
Yeah, I was like, that shirt costs more than my car.
Right.
What's going on here? So I do think chunks of this are important for how the story progresses. We need this background, because it is kind of a domino effect, but I'm not sure that we need to spend entire episodes on all of these characters. And that's where it
feel like almost like they were doing, even though a lot happened, there was one character that they were concentrating on per episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think
that's needed.
Some of those, like the one where Vivian goes to the house out in like the Poconos, the Hamptons, I don't know, where the
one with the yacht.
Yeah, that's the story with the yacht, but it's being told by the woman who, like as an influencer or something like that. Yeah. Portions of that are important, but I don't think we needed all of that time on there. So it's things like that where I think it would have progressed the series along faster, which then would have made me not feel the time as much. Still, though, an outstanding watch. I mean, I'm not sure I could binge from beginning to end, though.
One-time watch as well. Like thinking about going back through it, I don't think I could ever do it again.
I agree. Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah. I loved the story, and I would. There is a Rachel, the real Rachel, sold her story to HBO, I believe, and so her story is going to be coming out at some point on HBO, and so I will watch that, because I think it will be interesting, to get a different perspective on it, to have the other see it from the other point of view.
How much of that side will be true then?
I don't know. Well, it is going to be based, I think, off of her article and her book that she wrote. So probably, as you would hope that that's true, because magazines,
these days
it doesn't have to, not necessarily on the book, but you would hope that the news organization that prints it is, that there's fact checking within there.
Depends on the news. Depends on the magazines these days, because I've seen so much nonsense. I just don't know what journalism is anymore.
True.
I'm so annoyed of clicking a picture of something that has said something, and then it gets to you got to click 20 pictures later, and then you get to that, and it's not even the thing they were talking about, and you're like, come on, man.
Or you have 2 sentences about the
that's the article. Like, are you serious? Okay. Journalism. It's more like clickbait journalism. That's what people teach now.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to what else the Ozark lady does, because she's just great.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, Julia Garner is wonderful. I mean, she is my favorite character on Ozark. Like, I love her, and so it was great to watch her in this. It just weird, but good role.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on from our lovingly deep discussion on that, can we go back to gushing and geeking about Boba Fett, the book of Boba Fett?
We can, but please don't spoil anything. I'm only halfway through the last episode.
No, Chris.
I know. Yeah, it's okay. Go ahead. You know what? No, talk about spoilers. Do it. It's because I walked in. My son was watching it, and I walked in to see a certain person lying on the street, and I went, "Oh, well, okay." So I've seen that part now.
Oh, no.
I don't know how we get there, but yeah.
No, I can't spoil it for you. We'll have to cut this bit out. There's so much that goes on in that last bit. Like last 20 minutes of the
episode. Fine. Talk about it. Do it. This is the best thing we watched, and this is the best thing you watched. Talk about it.
Okay.
It's okay.
As a fan, I was very happy with what they did. And then I'm just amazed again at online people are like, I didn't enjoy that episode. And I'm like, what were you watching? Because never in my wildest dreams did I think that we would take a Rancor and use him as a battle beast in the city. And then, because at one point it gets to a stage where we have the Mandalorian and we have Boba Fett, and they're basically, they're people all over the city. It's just them two and the dude we want to die because he's just a snake, and he keeps trying to give them information like, oh, perhaps, and they're like, no. And we get that amazing scene where the Mandalorian and Boba Fett, they fly up together and they're shooting, but they have good armor, but their armor is only going to last so long, and they're basically going to die. There's waves and waves of the Syndicate coming at them. And then it's two like droidy cars, but massive ones, and they have shields, and there's like, oh crap, they can't do anything. They can't get through the shields. And Boba Fett says, I'm going to go get some help. And the Mando is like, where from? We've got all the help that we're getting. Cut to on the roof, does massive jump, and me just geeking out. It's like, man alive, from Luke Skywalker in the thing where we see the Rancor eat the big dude, to actually having the balls to making it fight massive droids. It's just like brilliant. Who came up with this, and what was your budget for this episode? Because seriously, they do monsters well, but like having it in the fight I thought was really good. And then obviously we're having the return of the bounty hunter, and we have the standoff. They're just moments that really stand out. We have the reunion of Grogu and Mando during a fight scene. Like, it's brilliant. Really, really, really cleverly done. Well paced. I will leave some of the best bits because you're going to want to watch it, Chris. And it's like a full hour of just joy.
Yes. Well, and it's funny because I haven't gotten to the part with the Rancor, but I was thinking when I watched I think the last spot that I got was as the syndicate is just, we're seeing them from every angle, like they're coming, and the Gamorrean guards have just been thrown off of the cliff.
I'm so sad for them.
Like, oh, well,
they were characters. They stayed alive.
Yeah, I was like, we're doing this. Okay, that sucks.
No,
well, and that moment, it clicked in my head. I'm like, well, what happened to the Rancor? Because we haven't seen it since, Danny Trejo had been there, training it a little bit, and like, oh, okay, well that, but now it's good to hear that because we knew that Boba Fett wanted to learn to ride it. And so that's that.
Yeah, there's some wonderful moments with that Rancor. Definitely the star of the show for me. Do you watch the credits? There's a mid-credit scene that is worth watching.
Oh, okay.
That'll put a smile on your face. In case.
It made me so happy too to see that Grogu did choose Mando.
I told you he would. I called it.
I know
last
you
week.
did. I know.
It's just, you can't have Mando without Grogu. That's what it is now.
It's the team now. Yeah.
I guess I'll just move on from one smile on my face so that you can enjoy some of it before I just break it down and do scene by scene to Uncharted. So I had the chance to watch that. We went on a date night last night and we went to watch this. And this is bearing in mind that I've played all of the games multiple times through. I've bought them on multiple consoles. I'm a huge fan of the story. That's what sucks me in. And then the gameplay, there's a lot of repetitive shooty shoot. And I don't know how you can really call yourself the good guy because you kill probably, 400 guys along the way in each game. But, you're the hero. So you're Nathan Drake. So then, a while ago, Tom Holland was announced and my heart sank as Nathan Drake. I was like, what? No. And then they Mark Wahlberg and I was like, are you kidding? And then he didn't have a mustache. And I was like, what? Just stop it. Leave my games alone. Damn it. And then I saw the critics' reviews come out for Uncharted and they were destroying it. Like, man alive. At the time, it was at 36%. It went up to 40. I think it's at 50 now. But because the Rotten Tomatoes is based in the US, we can't, people that don't have 50,000 subscribers, you can only review as an audience member, and I can't review it. Otherwise, I think it would be much higher for the audience, because I think it's going to be one of those dividing things again. So I'm coming at this as purely as an adventure film. You're thinking Indiana Jones meets National Treasure. That is kind of what you're getting. And that puts a smile on my face all day, every day. But what worked really well for me was, young Nathan Drake, Tom Holland, really gets the character. It seemed like he spent a lot of time playing the games. And he's not really a gamer, but he played those games and he loves them. It's just, I think that was part of the pitch when he was working on No Way Home. He went and spoke to the director about pitching a young James Bond, and out of that he got this part, and so then Sony sent him a PlayStation, and there he was playing the game, and so now he knows the character. So he's got that really quirky banter. And then Mark Wahlberg, you know how good he is at dry comedy. That's his thing, Mark Wahlberg, whether you like him as an actor or not. And so for the Sully character, it kind of worked, but them together is what worked the best. So separately, I think they're okay, but together their on-screen chemistry works as a duo. And it is slightly different, but I think you have to give it. It's a film, and I think the people that are moaning about it is they've looked at the games and said, but it's not the game. And then people that are coming into it are going, oh, this is just if you've never played the games, you're just judging it as a film. If you're judging it with a critic's eye as a film, then I think you're going to be like, oh, this is just an adventure. It doesn't have much meat to it. This is an origin story, but it's also an origin story for a couple, like a bromance between Sully and Nathan. And that takes time to establish as well. And I think by the time you get to the end, it really does. But when you get stuck into the adventure, there's this slapstick martial arts that's brilliant, sort of like Jackie Chan-ish. You know, like how Jackie Chan does, he uses his environment, he's defending himself, and then like he gets thrown around a table and then will slide and use that momentum to swing around the pole. That is used very well in this, and it is so much fun to watch. There's a scene, if you've seen the trailer, there's ships in the air, like old pirate ships, and that whole sequence is incredible. But it starts with one of the iconic moments from the game. That's where the film starts, like in a plane with things at the back of it, and then it jumps and it starts giving us character background, and then we go into that adventure, which is basically like treasure hunting. You know, they're trying to find a treasure, and they're treasure hunting. It's like, and who's going to get the treasure? Who's going to get there first? Establish the bad guy. You know the formula. You've seen it done a million times. We've had so many of those films. I just think Tom Holland is very watchable you like him as a person, so. Even if he'd done badly, I think Tom Holland is like worth watching it for. Even though I like other Spider-Man better, I still like his Spider-Man. Does it make sense? Which is why I think his latest Spider-Man works so well, because we had, spoilers, but like by now, if you haven't seen it, you're probably not going to watch it. It's all three Spider-Man together. I think I've blurted enough. I think it was much better than they were going on about.
Well, that's good. That gives me hope, because it hasn't opened in the U.S. yet. It opens this coming week. And so I've already bought my tickets. I got invited to a screener for it, but that's in the city. It's a couple hours away, and I already have a press screening that night that's closer. So I was like, I'll go, I'll buy my tickets. Yeah, exactly. So I'm really looking forward to it. And my son, who's going to go with me and see it on Thursday night, he's played all the games. And so he likes it. But we were talking about it last night because we watched a little portion of the trailer again. And he's like, you know what? As long as it's fun, that's all really I want. That's kind of what I'm looking for. I'm looking for just an action movie that has some adventure to it.
That's what it is.
And that
I couldn't knock it for that. Yeah. It has a slump, like after initial burst of action, there's like a 20-minute slump in the beginning because they're trying to establish what's going on, who the characters, there's some talky bits. We're going to establish where they're going and who's going to trust who and who's not going to trust who, that kind of stuff. But once you're on the treasure hunt, them two together are great. And I would say to your son, and for those that are going to watch it, haven't seen it yet, look out for all the Easter eggs. There's so many from the games. Like, other than actual scenes they've copied, there's loads of, like, look out for a Naughty Dog sticker. There's definitely one of those around. And a very, very cool cameo. Well, Naughty Dog made the game, so yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
But a really, really, really great cameo that people from the games will know. Yeah. So.
Okay. Well, cool. Well, he'll look over at me and he'll probably go,
yeah. I did that. My wife was like, what?
Yeah. Well, that's cool that they include some of that for the fans of the game as well. And sometimes we do just need mindless fun. Just kind of the popcorn movie where I can go and can just have a great time at the movies. And
it's exactly that. It's a perfect popcorn movie, and it seems like people in the UK need it. They're, like all the shows are sold out. I was amazed. Like, people are going to the cinema. The people behind us were clapping at the end. They really enjoyed it. So I was like, okay. There is something quite unique about watching a film, especially like opening couple of days. The zeitgeist of it with people really experiencing that together. Fun.
Yeah, it's fun, especially when they're fans, or that even if they're not fans, but everybody has this big enjoyment, that collective enjoyment of it. That makes it amps up the excitement and all the emotion that comes with it. That's fun. Cool. I'm looking forward to it.
Great. What's next on your full list? Because this week was mostly poo, we watched, my youngest son hadn't seen it yet, even though it's been out for a couple of years. We watched Always Be My Maybe on Netflix with Randall Park and Ali Wong. Do you know that? The romantic comedy with Keanu Reeves as the cameo. Yes, actually, and it's really good. It's really good. Like, I was surprised about how good it is.
Thank you. That was when we first saw it. I didn't go in with high expectations. Going in knowing it was just kind of a rom-com, I was actually like, holy, this was actually really good. Like, this is one of those rom-coms that I will watch all the time, and I've seen it probably 5 or 6 times since it's come out. And so we watched it again last night, and I laughed just as hard, knowing it, all of the places that it's that's coming up, all of the dry little sarcastic lines that are thrown in, all of that. It's just it all works, and I think what really works is that we are drawn into both of the characters, flaws and all. You know what I mean? And so from the very beginning, we know they're supposed to be together, and we root for them the whole time, even when things are like, seriously, come on, it's about time, all of these, just the dad being able to, him knowing and being disappointed, or why aren't you this woman who you clearly had a thing with has now come back into your life. Why aren't you pursuing this?
Yeah.
They're just...
I mean, it's one of those that we only watched recently. I think it was a few months ago. And I was so surprised at how funny it was. I'm also wondering why I've been put into like pitch blackness recently. Suddenly I'm dark. I think I think the sun is going down in the UK. It's 4:00 and the sun's gone. No.
No.
Yeah. I think, yes, please. Thank you. A light has been switched
there's
on.
Reuben.
Yeah, always be my baby. I think we didn't watch it because it looked like another one of those Netflix rom-coms that, and there's 1,000 of them. They're so generic.
Yeah.
And you kind of sigh, like, do I have to? And yeah, we stuck it on for some reason, and it was really funny, really heartwarming. Love the characters. Like you, will be one of those that I will want to watch like repeatedly.
There is a line in it where Ali Wong talks about going to how she's been hired to cater a Netflix wrap party, and it is a Kevin James series where he plays Benjamin Franklin. They missed an opportunity to have a post-credit scene. Man,
they should have
of Kevin James, even just a trailer of Kevin James as Benjamin Franklin, even if it was just for that, because I'm like, that would. I don't know if that's a comedy. I don't know if that's a drama. I don't really care. I just want to see that. I want to.
Gosh.
Even if you have the opening, like think of a trailer and we only get 5 seconds of it. You know what I mean? That's all I want. I want just the opening title type of thing. And then you see Kevin James there with these little beady glasses or whatever. and then boom, it ends. I wanted something, and I was so bummed that they didn't do that, because they brought in Keanu Reeves. So they can get.
Seriously, I don't think I could love Keanu Reeves anymore. And then he did that scene. I mean, it's basically a scene. Hey, it was a couple. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, but it's very. It's just he's so, and I love it because he's so well known to be such a nice guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Where you see some of this aggression come through, and him like,
yeah,
or I'm sorry, and then goes right back to eating.
Yeah. He's the worst, and in a really great way. Yeah.
Yes. So if you have not seen Always Be My Maybe, it really is worth it. I mean, it's great, especially if you love rom-coms, and the humor is great. And what's funny is I'm not really a big fan of Ali Wong's humor. I tried to watch one of her specials, and it just didn't click with me at all. But with this, I loved her. I thought she's not toned down. I was drawn to her.
Her timing from the script. I think the script must have been really good, because it's taken her quirky humor and his dry humor and put them together, and it's just they found gold. It's worked. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so next on my wonderful list of things that I really enjoyed, this was something that I was so happy to have found, because I'd watched a bunch of stuff that had just really depressed me. I was just like, why is TV bad? Stop it. I was watching stuff that was just awful.
Yes.
Not awful, just not great. Like Tall Girl 2, Big Bug. Oh my goodness, what was that film? That was something. And considering the director, madness. The Fear Index. I got a lot to talk about the Fear.
Oh, I didn't see that.
So anyway, Kimi. Kimi was incredible, which is weird because normally I'm with the audience. This time around, it seems the critics have given this a huge rating of 90%, and the audience is on 54, so they're like halfway through. So that's just an aggregate score, but it's an interesting story played by Zoe Kravitz, directed by Steven Soderbergh, and get this word right. An agoraphobic Seattle tech worker uncovers evidence of a crime. It's a weird Alfred Hitchcock take on what's the one where the person's in the wheelchair?
Vertigo?
No.
Rear
Window.
Window.
So it's Rear Window meets hackers. I don't know. Okay, so she works from home.
Okay.
She's scared to go outside.
Sure.
It's COVID time, so any progress she had been making is gone because she spent another 2 years indoors, and she's scared for a reason. So when you find out, you're like, yeah, I totally get it. But saying that she gets to the door, she's about to open the lock and she can't. She gets herself in a state. So she lives her life looking at people across the building doing stuff. Her job is to decode or defragment lines of code that have gone wrong from people that have a device called Kimi. So it's not Kimi. The story is about this device or this program called Kimi, which is like Amazon's Echo. And so she hears all these audio things of what it records. And I mean, I was saying in my review, if you're living under the delusion that your voice isn't being recorded because you've opted out, that's nonsense. You have so many devices in your house right now, from laptops to MacBooks to TVs, to your smartphones, to the many apps on your smartphones. Guaranteed one of them is recording you, even if you think they're not. It just is. How many times, Chris, when you haven't even been on a device and you say to your partner, I really want to buy this because we need this. You go on Facebook and there it is. Or YouTube, there it is.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. So it takes that premise of just Big Brother's watching you. She finds and hears something and then she reports it. It's something that's bad. And there we have a tenseness of a story that just spirals, and it's just tense the whole way through. And if you take that agoraphobic thing, you're already like tense for her because and then she has to go outside and you're worried for her. But then there's stuff happening that's really dangerous. And so I felt like the payoff was really good. But some of the filmmaking techniques were awesome. I hate Dutch angle, and there was Dutch angle that I loved in this. It was just done really well. I think Steven Spoderberg, what is his name? Soderbergh. He's a bit hit or miss for me. I don't like all his films. There's some that are just like
yeah.
But this one, I was just like, yeah, he hit something that. How many COVID films have we had? We've had loads, and a lot of them are mostly bad.
Yeah, we have.
Because we have less cost, less budget. It's hard to make a film in COVID. So they've tried to, fair enough. You've tried to do something while we've all been locked down. Great. Here we have one that is very minimalistic, but has also come out as a really interesting story. Highly recommended. It's my first 5 stars of the year. Probably my best thing I've watched this year so far.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's good. I think I'll probably check it out this weekend. I was telling my wife that you had, I saw part of your review, and like, I didn't know anything about it. I didn't even know it was coming out. And so when your review dropped, I was like, oh, what is this? You know, and it's on here in the US, I believe it's on HBO Max. And so the premise sounds really good. And I'm like you, I'm hit and miss with Soderbergh. He did this one movie a couple years ago where he used an iPhone to film the entire thing. And I liked it and I didn't like it all at the same time. Exactly, like I'm not a fan of the phone because it loses depth most of the time, you know, and that bothers me to a degree. But from also the way that they were able to use that in some of the filmmaking, I thought was brilliant then, you know. And so anyway, it sounded too, as you were talking about it, like maybe a little bit of like it has reminded me almost of, oh gosh, what was the movie with Will Smith? It was a Ridley Scott movie.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
Where he's
that's quite old now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Where it's like a lot of technology within there, but it's somebody who witnesses something
Scott?
that they shouldn't. Oh, maybe it was Tony Scott.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was such a great film.
Yeah,
he's on the run.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or even, I mean, think about way back with John Travolta, Blowout, where he accidentally records something, you know, and it puts him then in danger. And, well, I don't know if that's actually this way, but I mean, you have somebody who finds out information that maybe they shouldn't know. And now they have to either go figure it out or they're on the run. And that's where, you know, this chase or this pursuing comes into play. I like that. I like what that does for a story and how it adds some urgency. But then when you bring in the complication of her being agoraphobic, I mean, that's got to break up the anxiety just a lot. You know, I mean, it's got to be like, gosh, I feel for you. And if she can pull it off, which it sounds like she really can, then it becomes super engaging. So I'm looking forward to it.
Zoe Kravitz, she's Catwoman in the new Batman, right? Yeah,
in the new Batman. Yeah.
I'm very excited about the new Batman film.
Yes,
I'm getting more excited because we got age certificate for 15 here, which means it's much more adult Batman that we've had for a while. What is it? It didn't get an R17, did it? Is it PG-13?
I think it's a PG-13 here. Yeah. Which everybody was like, when I heard that, I was like, oh,
that's weird because we got the 15 certificate. That is odd.
Yeah, I bought my tickets
for IMAX.
So yeah, no, it's still one of the bigger screens, but the IMAX ones I didn't hop on right when they went on sale, and so I missed out on that. Yeah, or they were there was like the first 2 rows, and I refused to do that for IMAX. I'm not going to sit.
You're going to be sitting with your head like backwards, and the the bat is going to be in your face.
Yeah. Well, and it gets my eyes now. I'm at the age, because I'm wearing the glasses and stuff, they can't track as fast for certain, you know, when there's a lot of like fast moving action and it becomes very blurry. And I don't want to be that close to that big of a screen with a lot of action going on and me not be able to enjoy it and take it all in.
Following the screen from right to left, like you just watching the person run across like they're actually in front of you.
Yeah, exactly. I'm at a tennis match too. Yeah, no, I don't want that. So we're not going to IMAX. It's still a bigger screen. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to that too.
Enemy of the State, I think, is what we were trying to remember.
Thank you. That's what it was. Yes. Wonderful.
Do you have
lots of people in that?
Lots of people in that one.
Yeah. No, I don't have anything else. The rest of my week was poo. If you want to talk about The Privilege, I mean, we could talk about The Privilege and the mess of that movie, but I don't think that fits within what we do here of the best.
That'll just make me sad.
No.
I don't really need to talk about it, but Disenchantment, if you're still watching it, this season is the best so far, I think. They've done a really good job. Okay. So fans of Futurama and The Simpsons, I think the majority of people that have been commenting on my review have said the same, that the arc, instead of doing episodic episodes, they've gone for like a major arc, which has really worked for them. So you got the fantasy genre rather than like The Simpsons episode by episode or Futurama. They had a bit of an arc in Futurama, but it was mostly they would do something.
Yeah.
Now there's like just a split up story, and that seems to have worked because I was much more invested.
I really liked the first season, and I fell off on the second season.
Third was better than the second, and the fourth is good.
Oh,
yeah.
I'll have to go back to it then. Okay.
And I'm not laughing, but I'm really enjoying it. So it's no longer like jokes for the sake of it. It's funny because of some of the stuff they say is like, wow, okay. But it's more on the characters that you're enjoying now. Yeah.
Good. Okay. Well, outstanding. Well, I'll have to revisit it at some point. How many episodes
10.
is it? Are they? I mean, they're shorter.
Short. They're like
10
20
episodes,
minutes
but they're
per episodes. Yeah.
20. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all of my stuff for the best thing we watched
That's all
this
of my
week.
stuff.
But we're obviously going to talk about entertainment news and what we're looking forward to, I believe.
Yes, and I think I want to talk a little bit also within the news about some of the Academy Award nominations and
Talk
some
about
surprises.
Things that might make me sad.
I think.
Okay.
Exactly. So we'll talk about that in the podcast area. You know, the special audio. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can head over to that wherever you happen to listen to podcasts. If you're already listening to podcasts, well, you're going to just jump right into that. But we thank you so much. You can always tweet at us at Best We Watched, or please, if you're listening on the podcast, check us out on YouTube. Ruben with the Ruby Tuesday, Chris with Movies and Munchies. We'd love your support. And if you're watching on YouTube, head over to the podcast and also rate and review us wherever you happen to be. And we'll be back next week.